welcome to the Everything After podcast. I'm Rob, your host, and with me for this week's episode is Scott Schaafsma of KeroseneStars. KeroseneStars is a currently Houston-based band. Sometimes they split a little time in Chicago. Power pop indie rock band, channeling everything from the Beatles to REM to bands like Pavement or Oasis. Scott's here representing the band. Scott, thanks for being on the podcast.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. I started the band quite a few years ago in Chicago, and that band still exists. Andy Seacrum's a guitarist, Tom Storch is a drummer and percussionist, actually, and then I have a drummer by the name of Josh Rogers. And we play at least once a year. I've been in Houston for about 3 years now, so it's been sort of a transitional period, but I get up there as much as I can. And as it stands right now, we're probably doing about 3 shows a year, at least in Chicago, and we travel a little bit too, so... there's that. And then I've been building a Houston band, and I finally got a really great group together down here. Mitch Harris is the guitarist, and Steve Candelaria is the drummer. And we've been working together now as a team for over a year, and it's a tight group. So both groups are very talented and very tight.
Very interesting. So you have they're both KeroseneStars. You just have a Chicago-based KeroseneStars and a Houston-based KeroseneStars.
I like to call it franchising.
Yeah.
Franchise opportunities are available in your city too.
I like that. There'll be a KeroseneStars in every city and every state in this nation.
I'm international too, so it's okay.
Like Starbucks, there'll be one on every corner.
That's right. Awesome.
That's great, man. That's great. So, are these bands, the KeroseneStars, is your first band? I would imagine it isn't.
No, actually, I've been doing music for a very long time, at least 30 years. And I have several different projects of my own or shared projects with other songwriters. My first band from back in the 90s was called Sophia Ramona. That's actually available for streaming if you want to check it out. There's a mix of 3 songwriters in there, including myself and a girl singer. And then in the 2000s, I had a band called Magnus, which is also available online. And that's more of a Blur-ish, Wilco-ish style rock, indie British rock band, I guess. I was in Chicago too, and that band is really liked that band. That really good stuff. We have three records out, EP and 2 records that came out in the 2000s before we broke up. And then I also spent many years working with singer-songwriters, studied classical bass, and so I play upright. So I play, even though I don't do that in KeroseneStars, I used to tour around the Midwest and East Coast with singer-songwriters and do backing work with them, and did a lot of bass work. So I'm on a bunch of records just from that. Almost too many to name. And then I just got to a point where I needed to go back to doing my own thing. So I started writing again. And in 2010, I started KeroseneStars. And now we're still doing it. It's 2025.
Yeah, awesome. So what sparked your initial interest and, I guess, passion for music? Like, were you in a musical family or?
My father plays a little and he sings. But aside from that, not too much. They did help nurture it. They bought me my first guitar when I was too young to even know what it was, but I played it. And it was like a plastic toy, but I played it a lot. And then eventually I moved into, school band. I played trombone for many years. In fact, it was my major. I was going to be a band director many years ago.
Oh, wow.
But the demand for being a bassist outweighed the demand for being a trombone player. I ended up switching my major to classical and jazz bass. And so then I ended up getting my degree in that. Kind of along that whole time, I really just wanted to be in a rock band and go on tour and, get famous and all that stuff. But that never happened. So I ended up getting the degree by default. I wasn't really planning on finishing it. I was just sort of biding my time till something good happened, and it never did. So I ended up with a piece of paper. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool though, man. You keeping the music thing going and everything. KeroseneStars, I'm curious where that name came from for your band.
I wrote a song before I knew. It was so long ago, and after throwing around I don't know how many different versions of names to various band members at the time, I ended up getting consensus with the group that this was the ones. KeroseneStars became it. It's hard to get. I had like 4 people at the time. There's been a lot of members of KeroseneStars coming and going over the years. At one point, we were as many as 7 people in the band, and then it was 5. But I keep it as a trio most of the time, trio or a quartet, because scheduling is a hell of a lot easier. When you're trying to do rehearsals and stuff, I mean, going back and forth with people who was available on Tuesday at 7 versus, Saturday at 9 or whatever, it's just ridiculous. So I try to set things and keep them simple and keep people simple. And as long as everybody's happy, we're good. So that's why I like to have more people in the band. I love having a keyboard player. At one point, I had a viola player. Life happens and children happen and people stop playing music, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
tell me about how you shaped the sound for this band, because like you said, the other bands you're involved in, every band's a little different. Everybody brings a little, everything brings a little something different into the mix. But
Yeah.
how did you land on the through line for
Yeah.
KeroseneStars?
So stylistically speaking, I'm not even 100% sure to this day that we're there in terms of what we are, because we're sort of, at least for the longest time, genreless. We really sort of honed in on the power pop thing, and that helped us in a few ways we'll talk about soon enough. I like to write songs, and I don't really care what the style is. And I like to write hooks. So if it's a country song, as long as it's got a hook, I don't care. If it's a heavier, more psychedelic rock thing, I'm fine with that too, as long as people can latch onto it and actually remember it. For me, what I do is I come up with melodies in my head. Sometimes I'm sleeping and I wake up with them, or just walking along the street, I'll come up with something, and then I'll record it into my phone, and then eventually I'll piece together different pieces of things I've recorded over time. Sometimes 20 years versus yesterday will come together as a song. I sketch out the skeletal structure of the song from beginning to end, and then I take it to the band, which has been very stable over the years, but over the time it's been different people. But I like to have different people have different inputs. So when someone's playing their instrument, I want them to do what they like. I don't want to tell them what to do. So I don't write out every part. I make suggestions, and then there might be a riff or a hook that has to happen on a guitar or the drums that I'll tell them that I really need them to play. But aside from that, it's anything goes, let's play and make it musical, and it'll be great, sort of a situation.
Yeah. Well, I know you cited the Beatles as an influence. I listened to your music today. I got a little Brian Wilson too. I mean,
What song were you listening to? was it called A Million Little Trees?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because it had the Brian Wilson thing. That's probably the only song you're going to find. That's why I picked that one, because we do have some harmonies in there that sort of hit the 4-part stage there in the bridges, I think. But aside from that, I don't really know that there's a ton of vocals, that harmonies and stuff. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And that's definitely a compliment.
But tell me about your journey as a songwriter too. Because bands that you're interested in, that you're influenced in, of course, have very strong singer songwriter connections as well, and
Yeah.
a lot of storytelling happening in the lyrics and everything, and very sort of introspective melodies and things like that. Tell me about your process.
Yeah, so I've been writing songs. I started writing songs as early as I can remember, really forming sentences and putting them together on paper. They might have been good, but they were there. I still have some of my poetry from many years ago. But I sort of tamped all that down over the years too when I was working with other artists. It sort of didn't become important anymore. So I wish I could recollect those memories too and bring that stuff back, but it is what it is. But my process is really just, as I said, it's things just come to me, and I'll hum them out, and I'll mumble the lyrics most of the time. You don't generally have lyrics very quickly. You did note that you just said that's a storytelling element. So you put the stories. Not a lot of the things that I write, I've been told, have a heck of a lot of story going on, but I like putting words together. I like creating melodic hooks, and if a story comes from that, great. If it doesn't, I'm still going to put those words together, and I'm still going to sing those lyrics as they are. That's sort of what I look at. Someone else described that recently in a podcast that I listened to. I forget who it was, but it might have been Carl Pop. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but they were talking about the Strokes and how the Strokes are such a great band, and they absolutely are. I love them. That person said this, and I think they're probably right. I don't listen to the Strokes because they tell great stories. They just have really great hooks, and they write interesting lyrics, and people listen to them, and that's cool. I'm sort of falling in that vein sometimes, and maybe sometimes not.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes a lot of sense. So you got a couple of albums out with Kerosene Stars, right? You got two full albums, a couple of EPs, several singles that you've released here in the last year or so as well. So what's your latest single out?
There are two that came out this year. Is it okay if I pop away from the window to look at my own
Yeah,
web?
yeah, of course.
I need to read them. Okay, so the last thing that came out was Kerosene. Actually, that's a single that I wrote quite a long time ago, but I never released it. And we recorded it like a lot of these songs were recorded a few years back, and we've just been sort of slowly trickling them out as singles because, I mean, I've learned that even if people do listen to your record, they don't get all the way through the whole thing. Their attention span is so low that
Yeah.
if I can't even get you through the first 30 seconds of the song, I'm not going to get you through 10 songs. So I gave up on records. I don't release albums anymore. I only do singles. And for a little while I was doing A-side and B-side singles. We were briefly on Big Stir. We were on a Big Stir Records out of I think it's Burbank. They are a power pop label, and they had us do a release in 2020 or 2019. And we did an A and a B side there, but that's one of the only times that I'm going to be doing that. Otherwise, it's just every single represents its own thing, and it has its own art.
Yeah.
And the reason why it has that too is because my intent is to create a t-shirt or something artistic that's tangible instead of just a digital song that people can buy. Okay. So I've got t-shirts for, let me look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Currently 5 of the releases that are on the Bandcamp page have a t-shirt tied to them. And there's 3 more in the works. And then there's still a couple of singles that are in the pipeline that are coming from the Chicago band that will probably get t-shirts as well. And then I'm gearing up to bring the Houston band into the studio, hopefully this fall, to do 3 more songs. So we'll do some art as well.
I think that's a very interesting approach, novel approach I haven't really heard before. I've talked to several other bands that say they focus on EPs and singles as a way to kind of keep the churn going, like keep people interested in their music, release more frequently. But I haven't heard quite this approach before, which I think.
Well, it's expensive.
Yeah.
It might be more expensive than vinyl if I do it right, but
Yeah.
I haven't done it exactly by the book. Like I've been sort of making t-shirts on the fly, and I've been doing it through different vendors, sometimes with a good sale, sometimes at full price, which is quite a lot. But it's great to have that advertisement out there, and if people really like wearing the shirt, then that's a win for me, even if I'm losing money,
Yeah. Has it been fairly successful though for you?
I think so. I think maybe I still have there's a single called Ants in the Bathroom, which is doing pretty well. There's a t-shirt for that. And that's actually the t-shirt that I have the most of right now, because I think everything else is either sold out or for various reasons, maybe as a giveaway of some kind, that people have gotten a few shirts for free. But all the t-shirts that I've had are pretty much, I think they've drizzled down to just these Ants in the Bathroom t-shirts, and I have to get an order in soon for the other ones to refill and then get some new ones. I would say it's successful because I see people wearing them.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So is it just completely out of the question, or would you consider releasing a vinyl at some point with all these singles put together if you felt like there was some interest or demand for it?
I attempted to do that with the Big Stir record label, but they said they were too busy and didn't want to do it. I'm always looking for a label that would be willing to help with that. If nothing else, the distribution is something I don't have. I've never had it. And it would be nice just to have any sort of help. I've never really had a label.
Yeah.
It's everything that I've done since 2010 has been independent, with the exception of the few weeks that I was on the Big Stir thing. I've never had a label. So
yeah, well, independent music is amazing, and of course, with whatever I can do, whatever we can do to support you in that. I mean, we love independent music, but we also kind of like to manifest. Like if like maybe somebody hears about this, and
yeah, we're open for talking. Yeah,
you never know. Yeah, man. So this is really cool. Let's talk a little bit more about those musical influences and how you feel like you translate that into some of your songwriting. So you listed a couple here. REM, Radiohead, Matthew Sweet, power pop with a dash of darkness like Nick Cave. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, before I go any further, I forgot to mention Big Star is a big deal.
Yeah.
In fact, if you look at the Bandcamp page, one of my last releases is a cover version of Oh My Soul that was recorded, I think, in 2013. at Shuba's in Chicago with a different version of Kerosene Stars. We opened for a band by the name of the Vulgar Boltmen that night, and that's what the poster is when you look at the single. That was a great show, and the band at the time was a different singer-songwriter group that I was working with. There were three of us, and I got the offer to play this show, so we did it as Kerosene Stars, and that night we played all Kerosene Star stuff for the most part, and this cover from Big Star. Big Star has been a huge influence. In fact, the formation of Kerosene Stars, the first version, 2010, came to be because we were at the Empty Bottle in Chicago and we were playing the Alex Chilton Birthday Bash.
Cool.
Really event that's still put on up in Chicago on December 28th. So that's a fun time, and it just so happened I got some friends together that were brothers that were a drummer and guitar player that wanted to do it with me, and we did that. And after we got done with the show, I asked them if they wanted to continue and do some original stuff, and they were like, they're semi-professional, almost fully professional musicians that play with a bunch of people in the Chicago area and in Austin. And they were like, yeah. So I ended up doing some studio stuff with them even. And I have some older recordings that are unreleased for the most part. There might be a few websites that still have some of these songs, but there's actually some secret Kerosene Star stuff out there that even I don't know how to find.
That's awesome.
But anyway,
I love that kind of thing. Like, like treasure hunt sort of deal. I grew up in the age of bootlegs and, hunting for those rarities, for those, studio recorded, at least like demos out there. I love that kind of stuff growing up.
awesome.
Finding my way musically anyway. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's out there that people should look for from Kerosene Stars what's the true like?
Well, there's a version. I'm pretty sure that there's some duplicate songs out there that are only available on like one platform, and I can't even tell you which one that is. In fact, that would be too much of a giveaway. Anyway, if I knew. Like the song that I talked about earlier called Kerosene, there's another version of it, and there's another song on the Kerosene Stars page here on the Lost EP, which is there's 3 songs on that guy, and one of those has a song called Lost on it, and I recorded a completely different version of that song. And it might have gotten released into the wild back in like 2010, and it might be for sale, and I don't know where.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's one other one. I think it's called. Where is it? What did I do with that song? Nope, get up. I forgot about that one. I have a lot of songs. Sometimes I forget about some of these. Where the heck is that? Oh, no, that's not it either. It's called Don't Follow Me. It's called that. But it used to be called something else. And I'll let the world figure that out and let me know if they find it. Yeah. But yeah, so that's just sort of the deal. It's a mixed bag.
I love that we gave the internet sleuths something to do. We're always looking for some kind of new challenge. So I love that we gave that to them. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about your top 5 albums. If you could run through those for me one by one and just sort of talk about why they're your top 5, why they're in your top 5, like what really stands out to you musically, and if that's somehow reflected also in your own music.
I think so. Yeah. So the first one I listed for you was Pixies Bossa Nova, and that album came out I think when I was still in high school, and that is my favorite. And it's full of good hits. I love the fact that he wrote a song about a vacuum cleaner. You know what song that is?
Yeah.
It's just fantastic. You can't. It's a great song. So yeah, I've always liked them. In fact, I had tickets to see them when I was 16, and they screwed me over and went on tour with U2 instead, and they canceled the show. So I resented them ever since.
No.
But I did finally get to see them in Chicago in the late 2000s, I think. So I did finally get to see them once. And then I missed them. They were here this last weekend in Houston with Spoon. But I had already seen Spoon too many times. That's another great band that I love a lot, Spoon. And they're the whole other thing. But yeah, so I love the Pixies. I always have. I always wanted to have a band like the Pixies. And in fact, my first band that I formed called Sophia Ramona, I wanted to call the band Surfer Rosa, which is one of the Pixies albums. Yeah. But I got a lot of pushback on naming the band with that name. I thought we'd get sued, which to this day I still think is getting a cease and desist is one of the best things that can happen to you. So I was fine with it then. I'm fine with it now. In fact, we can talk about Tom Waits in a minute too, because I tried. But yeah. So
you get a cease and desist letter from Tom Waits?
No, I tried to. So I have a cover on my Bandcamp page. I have a cover on the record. I think it's the Burn the Evidence record. It's called Alice. It's the Alice record from Tom Waits, the first song of his title track. I made it into like a bossa nova, and it's a very pretty, like, you know, lighthearted version of his song. And in order to record it, I got permission. I talked to the publishing house, and I paid, I don't know, $100 or something to get a contract negotiation settled with them so that they have the rights. This is the best part. They have the rights to inspect my books. I don't know. I don't know if that's still a thing. It's been many years. I don't know if it's still in force. But I just love the idea that they thought I'd make enough money that it made sense they could see my accounting work.
Oh, that's great.
I don't make any money.
Fantastic.
And then it also said that something about how I couldn't enter it into contests. I think I couldn't do a bunch of stuff with that song. And one day, about 3 years after I released it, I found out he was judging a songwriting contest. So I sent his song in. I sent his song in, my version of his song, to see what he would do. And I got
that's hilarious.
crickets.
Nothing.
I keep trying, but it doesn't work. His wife actually wrote half of that song, or wrote all the lyrics to that song. Okay. Kathleen Brennan is actually, I have more of a contract with her than him, I think.
That's a good story, man. That's awesome. All right, what else? What's next on your list?
School of Fish. Are you familiar?
No, I'm not.
They came out like probably in the early 90s too. They're like a psychedelic power pop band, I think is the best description. They had one big hit called 3 Strange Days, but that's a really good record. Lots of really good hooks on that record. I highly recommend it.
Cool, I'll check it out.
Not much to say about it. You just got to go listen to it. The singer died many years ago. I think he had cancer, but the band's really fucking good, and I just recommend him. And then Elvis Costello, I've had a mild obsession with him for many years. This Year's Model being one of my favorite records. I actually own I own a replica bass of Bruce Thomas, the bassist from the Retraction.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The Bass Center in London released a copy of, with his, he worked with them to rebuild a bass that was stolen from him in LA, I think in the 80s. It's basically a Fender P bass that was modified. And so he calls it the Profile bass, and it's got the Bass Center logo on it. And it's a really nice bass. It plays, it's like I have a P bass and I have that bass, and side by side, they sound a little bit different. His is a little brighter. And they play a little different because I think his neck's a little bit more narrow. But aside from that, it's just a really solid workhorse bass, just like a P bass.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really
But yeah, I mean, I love the pop hooks and all of the great fucking licks and shit that go on the Elvis Costello's, most of his stuff.
Yeah.
And that particular record in general for me is like the tops. I finally got to see him at Riot Fest in Chicago back in was it 2015, 2014, something like that.
Yeah.
That was nice. And he did the rock set too, because I really don't love it when he tries to be mellow. I don't appreciate that. At one point he had a string quartet thing going on, and it was so sappy that it just didn't work for me. But
Yeah.
and then I got tickets to see him. I think I saw him last year too. He did more of a bluesy set here in Houston, but it was still very good. Yeah. It's good to see him. And then Wilco, Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. I think it came out in 2001. Great. A bunch of beautiful songs on there too that I really like, and it screams Chicago. And at the time I was in Chicago, and it's just I don't know. You have to listen to it. It's just a beautiful. There's lots of stuff on that.
Yeah, good pick. These are all good picks.
Yeah, Nick Cave Murder Ballads. I've always liked that one because. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not familiar with that particular.
It's I don't know if it's an EP. I think it might be a full length. But I know that there's only a couple of songs in there that I remember. But one of them is like this slow ballad about how death is not the end. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful song about not the end, not the end. Just remember, death is not the end. Awesome. It's like a serenade to death.
Yeah, that's great.
Very interesting, yeah.
That's great, man. Those are good picks. Yeah, and then I'm a big movie guy, so I always ask too, like a favorite movie or a movie you've seen recently that you can talk about. You gave me The Big Lebowski, which I always been a favorite of mine. Always, I could turn The Big Lebowski on just about any time and watch it. I love, of course, John Goodman in that, Steve Buscemi, Jeff Bridges. Everybody's just so fantastic in that movie.
Yeah, I love that movie. I was gonna also say Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, another great one. Yeah.
I wore those out when they were discs. I wore them out, and now they're digital, and I just keep watching them over and over again.
Yeah. Great stuff.
But another one I've been watching recently, because I've been watching this more and more as the years go by, is Idiocracy. I just keep, and that, I just can't stop watching it because I keep trying to apply
The
it to
world that
what's
we're
happening
in
in the world
now.
right now.
You see reflections of it. Yeah, absolutely. Man,
It's still not the greatest movie ever made, but the idea that it's somewhat so accurate is just astounding.
yeah, it's goofy. It's a goofy movie, but like I mean, as far as like parody goes, I mean, it's pretty spot on in some cases. Like Terry Crews and
The Dax Shepard's in it, and he's like, I've been listening to him on his podcast, and he talks about it too. He's just like, I can't believe it. And people think I'm so fucking stupid, but I'm not, guys. I'm not really that stupid.
yeah,
It's like, well, he did such a good
that's
job of
great.
playing stupid that you just get cornered as being stupid. So you got to hand it to him on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, man, thanks for going through that with me. I think that gives us a little bit of taste of what what you're all about and everything. I think that's awesome. And
Cool.
then, you said something about maybe playing a song for us too, so we could get a bit of a
Yeah,
taste of that as well.
sure. I can do that now.
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
into it.
It's a little tight of a space. And as a bassist, my main instrument's bass. So like, I write songs on guitar and then I hand them off to the guitar player to play. So I don't play a lot of guitar unless I'm actually writing. But I preface that because sometimes I'll go weeks without touching an actual guitar. So it's kind of a foreign instrument sometimes to me. But I'm going to do a song. I think it's called Three in Mind. I think I'm going to do one called Eleanor Dear, which came out 2016. It's on the EP called A Million Little Trees.
Awesome. And that, just real quick before you start, that guitar you're playing on, anything you want to say about your instrument? I always like to hear stories.
Oh yeah, this is an Alvarez 1976. Not a Yari, but it's an Alvarez. It's built with the same. I think it's got mahogany in here. It's similar to a Martin, but it's not a Martin. And I inherited it from my father. He used to play, and he had this guitar. And when he just didn't do it anymore, I took it and went off to school and never gave it back.
Nice.
And he accepted that, so I'm good.
Yeah, man. Cool.
I think at one point I gave him a bass in trade, and he was happy. Yeah. So, Eleanor, ready?
Yes.
All right. There's something about this light that makes your hair melt into blades of grass. There's something about the offering that is on this table, not so stable. Still really and dances by the candles. The air starts drying, voices calling, and when it's revealed out just past midnight, walls start closing, words start failing. Eleanor dear, where have you gone? I've lost my tongue, I can't move on. Eleanor dear, it's with regret I hold myself responsible. Radically moved by such displeasure, all is fair, all is secret. The Vatican moved by such displeasure, always searching for marching vagrants. A fire of caustic, callous fortune, utmost crimes, span misfortune, and Vatican still, Vatican frill, rhetorical swill, worlds away. Eleanor dear, I've traded fate, no longer deserve to feel this way. Eleanor dear, I've taken leave, no longer serve, no longer leave. Eleanor dear, I've lost my way, no longer think what you say. Eleanor dear, I ask you please to not pretend to care for me. Not so sure, not so impossible, not so pure. In all that is sacred, I'm not so sure. It's all it appears to be, not so sure. They say that it's written in Eleanor dear, I've lost my way, no longer hear the words you say. Eleanor dear, I'm void of joy, underwhelmed and undeployed. And every time I close my eyes, I see your caption close mine. Eleanor, dear, it's with regret I close my eyes. Do not forget me.
Man, that was good. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm always curious about songs with names in the title or in the lyrics, and I wonder if there's an Eleanor in your life, or if she's some kind of amalgamation of people, or if there's any kind of story about that you tell.
In this particular case, I was actually just trying to channel, you know, the band of Decemberists?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I was trying to channel something they might write.
Mm-hmm.
So I was attempting to figure out how to do something in that vein that had sort of a Civil War story feel to it. And it's actually one of the few songs that I actually tried to write a story around. So that's in there. I feel like it's in there at least. But no, there's no real Eleanors in my life. And it's actually one of the few songs where the title of the song is actually, not all the time do I write a song and name it something that's actually in the song. You know what I mean? Like the words always appearing just because I named it that.
Right. It, like saying the title of the movie in the movie, you don't sometimes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, corny, right?
Yeah.
I gotcha. That's great.
Sometimes I get lazy though, and I call something. I'll name a song like the first three lyrics that I sing. It's like, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that either, but yeah.
Hey Scott, thanks for doing this, man. It's been so great talking to you, getting to know you. I appreciate the song. Really, really enjoyed it. Let's tell people about where they can find your stuff, where you're going to be coming up, talk about some upcoming shows, and yeah.
So all of this music is available. There's 30 plus songs, I think, on all streaming platforms, Apple, Pandora, any of the ones. There's a whole list of like 30 in the world. Like Deezer's one I've never been on, but apparently it exists. We're on all of that. And also KeroseneStars.bandcamp.com. We are there. You can buy any of these songs directly from KeroseneStars.com. Has some information about the band plus show dates. Currently, we just finished up a bunch of shows in the Houston area, and we're going to be back. People have vacations coming up, so we're going to be doing a little bit of a break. But a month from now, I think the October 21st, we're going to be in Galveston at we're playing a YouTube TV show called The Kitchen. And I believe it's a kitchen. I think it's in a restaurant. It might be in someone's house. I'm not positive. The audience size is 6. So only 6 people can be there to watch us.
Wow.
But it's a professional video situation where we'll get copies of it. And, so anybody can watch it if you're listening now. If you go seek it out, 21st of October, we'll be playing a 45-minute set, The Kitchen in Galveston.
That sounds fun, man.
It'll be fun, yeah. And then after that, we are playing a 2-hour set of original music at a place in Sugarland. No, I get it wrong every time. There's a Sugarland and a Pearland here in Texas. This is Pearland, and it's an outdoor tap bar situation. It's another reason why I really like Texas is there are so many outdoor bars. Like basically, they build a roof over something with no walls, and it's a bar. It's fun to hang out in the outdoor setting, or a little bit out of the rain.
You can still do that in November in Texas. Like you can't do that in Ohio in November usually.
Exactly.
Although maybe we're getting there at some point,
global warming will happen, but it's been 4 years. So yeah, we're doing that. And then after that, I don't have anything scheduled. My intent is to take the Houston band back to the UK. I don't know if you noticed that, but we played Liverpool. We played the Cavern Club, 3 shows there in 2024. We meant to do it in 2025, but we just couldn't get the schedules to work. So we've been invited back. Our intent is to play Liverpool, at least 2 shows in Liverpool. Probably one in Manchester, perhaps one in Glasgow, and maybe Edinburgh. And then we've also been sort of invited to go to either Stockholm or Copenhagen and play there too. So
wow,
we hopefully we get all that done and everything. Stars align, basically. The kerosene stars align.
Kerosene stars will align. I see it. It in the future. That's great, man. That's awesome. Sounds like a lot of fun. You got a lot of great stuff coming up. You tour a lot. I mean,
no, we just. Yeah. And it's expensive because we're not actually making much money. It's a fortunate yet unfortunate situation where if I want to do it, we have to do it our own way. And I mean, hopefully we get more popular, and if we do, we start selling merchandise and we can start paying more of their way. But I forgot to mention that every April, at the very least, I play a show in Chicago. So probably toward the end of April, we'll be up in Chicago too.
Awesome, man. Well, that's great. Again, so grateful to have you on the show and for you to share your music and everything that's going on. I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, sir. I love it. Thank you. All right, cool. Hey, this is Scott from Kerosene Stars, and my ETA is KeroseneStars.com.
All I want in the world is my blue radio. My girl